Hello and welcome. Today we have the round 22 predictions. Only 2 weeks left in the regular season, amazing how quickly it's crept up on us. We begin with Friday night's fixture that sees the Saints take on the Lions. The Lions needing a win to stay within striking distance of the top 4. And the Saints desperately need a win to ensure their finals hopes don't end. The Saints were pretty poor, to put it simply, against the Cats. What did we really expect from them though? The Lions destroyed the Blues on their home deck, and we aren't surprised by that either. Their record is insane there, and they played the ground exceptionally, so you would hope. Zorko was great, McInerney strong in the ruck, Neil prolific as usual. The concern remains though. A 57-point three-quarter time lead whittled down to 15. Sure, they reinforced the lead after that, but losing crucial percentage and just losing a sizable lead in general remains a bit of a red flag for them. I'll back Brisbane to come to Melbourne and slice the Saints' finals hopes further. Even with the iffy last few weeks, they remain a class above St Kilda, who have really struggled to challenge sides that have authority over them on the ladder. Next game at Marvel Stadium will see the Dogs play the Giants. Both games these teams partook in were tightly fought. The Bulldogs need to win this game much like St Kilda, whilst the Giants are merely trying to hijack the Dogs' run to sneak into the finals. Jesse Hogan took hold of the Bombers in their fixture. Was pretty close for much of the contest after starting well, but broke away and were comfy winners. The sample size these teams have put together over the course of the season will see me pick the Dogs this week. Their top-end talent has just proven to be more reliable over the course of the season in comparison, and you'd largely expect them to cope against an inferior opposition, especially given the stakes. Next game is Adelaide North Melbourne. Both teams had some big headlines circling over them this week. Cunnington's return to footy was a success. Adelaide were responsible for ruining a feel-good ending to Josh Kennedy's career, and Jaden Stevenson is incompetent when it comes to game awareness. So many inexcusable lapses. I'll pick the Crows at home, hard enough to beat there for good teams, so can you imagine the uphill climb it'll be for North? If Dodie doesn't return, is another Nick Larkey bag on the cards. Regardless, it'll end in the same result. Next fixture is Gold Coast taking on the Cats. This is pretty meaningless for both sides, apart from the fact a Cats loss could see them fall to second spot. Gold Coast weren't awful against Hawthorn, but were left to rue some missed opportunities, symbolic of their finals chances that also slipped away with a loss. That's not to say there isn't positives to extract. Hollands looks like a nice player for the Suns that will expand his game in the years to come. As for the Cats, business means business. They destroyed the Saints on the weekend. Their sudden omissions just before the bounce created some controversy, because why wouldn't that happen? No one likes Geelong. Regardless, their inclusions will be saucy this week. That'll get them over the line. The Suns have been good at home, but they've left a bit to be desired in the last couple of months, and I expect their form to continue to trail off as the Cats continue their momentum as September approaches fast. Huge game on Saturday night will see Melbourne take on Carlton. Melbourne didn't necessarily play bad on Friday night against Collingwood. They won a number of categories and on paper should have dominated Collingwood. However, their team succumbed to the excessive amount of Collingwood pressure, couldn't get going offensively as a result, and Collingwood ran over the top. The Blues are well off the mark at the wrong time of the year, when standards should be elevated. They've run into some on-field problems, and this could be compounded with the loss of Patrick Cripps to suspension. Weeks or not, at the time of writing this, they'll definitely fight it, because they need him with all the absences. The Demons will smoke Carlton on Saturday. Carlton have been all talk and no action in recent weeks, and Melbourne won't let Carlton mistakes go unrewarded. They'll give Carlton the same treatment Brisbane did if Carlton don't iron out the kinks. That said, Melbourne are just going to be too strong. Carlton limping to the finish. Next is Fremantle West Coast. I don't have much to say apart from the fact this is posing as possibly one of the more lopsided derbies in recent history. Fremantle will mow West Coast down. West Coast hosted a wonderful final game for Josh Kennedy, but were narrowly let down with their inability to lock down the Crows scoring-wise. I can't take away from their fight and ability to stay engaged as the score remained close, but if it wasn't for the retiree, that game wouldn't have been close. Kennedy responsible for 8 of their 13 goals. It's a bit depressing upon reflection. This one's easy. Fremantle win. Sunday games commence with a big fixture for the Tigers as they take on Hawthorn. Hawthorn were deserving winners against the Suns. Jack Gunston continues to put together a good season when he does play, whilst McDonald and Ward, the rookies, have responded well to omission, putting together a strong back half of the season. Richmond I didn't watch, but when met with a challenge against the Power, they fended off the hostile crowd and the high stakes to take one step closer to September action. The Tigers aren't perfect, but always have players to bail them out, players who sense the occasion and always seem to tough it out, and that's why I think their recent success will sustain itself beyond this fixture. Richmond win, but Hawthorn will make them earn it, as has been the case with other fixtures this year against better opponents. Sydney Collingwood is posing as the game of the round. Collingwood's now 11-game run has been composed of every drawn-up scenario, mindset, and game style in the book. Come back from behind, lead then trail and then get over the line, holding onto a lead. They've done it. Collingwood were smashed in many areas on the weekend and still managed to pull through with maximum points due to high efficiency. They had in excess of 40 tackles in the second half where their damage was done, and they continue to get a strong balance of contributors from their top 6 players, filtered all the way down to players who don't have 10 games of experience. Sydney didn't have the best of games against North Melbourne. They were a bit patchy at times and left the door slightly ajar, but absolutely slammed it on North's fingers with short scoring bursts. At times it felt like a procession, and some of their goals were really satisfying when they were clean with their handling of the footy and connection on the kick. This will be a test for Collingwood, who've been heavily accustomed to the MCG in this win streak. I'm going to predict Sydney to win this game on their home deck. But realistically, nothing I say for this game will matter, because you already know Collingwood are winning this one by under 6 points. Last game is Essendon versus Port Adelaide. There's not really any incentive for Essendon to win this game, wanting a high pick at season's end. Port Adelaide's season ended after they lost to Richmond valiantly. They'll be getting some handy inclusions this week. Essendon were pretty lacking by the sounds on the weekend. They'll want to respond at home. I'm going to keep this one short and sharp. I think Port Adelaide have been a bit stiff on results this year, and they've taken it up to some good opponents. Essendon have recently played well at Marvel Stadium, actually taking advantage, but I'll go Port Adelaide to win this one. Makes a bit more sense to me when trying to justify both teams. And that's all, folks. Share your predictions in the comments. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.